Now, no, nothing can move you.
Well, Houston, we have a big problem here. Reverend Barber. That's right, the man who have taken on or rebirthed Martin Luther King's Poor People campaign. If you go into history, you'll find out that Martin Luther King realized the Poor People campaign was not enough. That's when he started talking about how the liberals want him to wait on pushing things for blacks and focus on pushing things for all people. That's when they tried their best to discourage Dr. King from going toward the route of black empowerment, black upliftment. See, Dr. King did the civil rights campaign and it only went so far, and he talks about it in his public NBC interview, how, you know, I think I led my people into a burning fire. I mean, we got so quote unquote civil rights, but that's not enough for my people. And they wanted to push him to do the Poor People's campaign. Now let's go fight for the rights of all people, which is, you know, I ain't got no problem with that. Only after you establish finishing a job with black empowerment and black upliftment. See, Dr. King found out while he was in the Birmingham letters that these people don't care about, you know, they want you to pause everything so they can have their agenda over your agenda. That's why during the Poor People's campaign, Dr. King was already strategizing for his next campaign. See, that statement when Dr. King said, next time we're coming for our checks, it wasn't part of the Poor People campaign, even though a lot of people think it was. It wasn't. So Dr. King got with black empowerment people like Stokely Carmichael, who replaced John Lewis, because John Lewis was part of that all people, we the people, you know, let's do this for everybody, when it wasn't time to do that for everybody. It was time to do that for black. Black only went halfway with getting their full equal rights. There's a difference between civil rights and equal rights. And Dr. King realized he pushed for civil rights when he really needed to push for equal rights. So he said to himself, when I get rid of this campaign right here, when I wrap this up and I'm almost done, we're going to get our checks. If you go back and listen to all those speeches, what the same speech where he mentioned about going to get our check, he talked about the different lands that was given to Native Americans that white people stole and all that kind of stuff, but nothing for the black people who built this country, Obama. I had to say that because he tried to make fun of that and try to make light of that, trying to say that black people didn't pretty much build majority of this country. You lying sack of crap? We did. But hey, what do you get from a half white Kansas man and a half black Kenyan man? You don't know what the heck. You have no root in this. You have no soil. You don't know what we really went through. Your grandma and granddaddy didn't tell you. They couldn't explain to you how they owe us. Therefore, you're not familiar with it. So what does this have to do with William Barber? Well, William Barber took over the Poor People's campaign, revitalized it, and started to push for this all-people-ism. And the problem that I have with pushing that before pushing black equal rights is because once everybody get equal, there's some things we can't get equal. There's a reparation due to us. There's There have to be adjustment to bring us to equal status with majority of white people who came here from the start of this country. Equal in all areas. And see, I don't want to talk about that because as soon as you start talking about, I want the same in every way, shape, and form as white society, they try to find some way to get rid of you. And that's what happened to Dr. King. He started preaching black equality over civil rights. He learned his lesson. I wish William Barber would do the same thing. Because even though he has the Poor People Campaign and he's pushing hard for that, he got to understand, just like with Dr. King, these people do not love you. And if they can, they'll get rid of you. I want you to listen to a speech he made recently. In this speech, made liberal Twitter or libtard Twitter, or whatever you want to call it, hardcore Democrats to the core, lose their freaking mind over what this man said. Not understanding the fact that all he did was do what he's supposed to do. He's not a politician. He's supposed to be a grassroots activist. His job is to tell the truth to power, and take whatever it comes. But most people in society don't like what he got to say. Well, people didn't like what Martin Luther King had to say. They ain't stop him. Can you imagine the amount of people who were pissed off at Dr. King because he was upsetting the apple cart of white society, trying to make sure that we get the same civil rights as white people? Oh, they hated Malcolm X. They tried to make it seem Malcolm X wanted to kill white people, which he did not. There you go, upsetting. Well, we're lacking fine right here. The Negros got their piece. They understand how it is, and they're not bothered and hot about this. No, sir. We fine. We live in our area. They live in our area, their area, and we come across with the understanding. Well, understanding that you are above us, that you are better than us, that you are supreme over us. Really? That we got to accept the fact that we went through hell and high water, did more than you could ever do to build this country, yet we got nothing for it but a bunch of more hell, a bunch of more torment, torture. And now here you got William Barber upsetting the apple cart, and Democrats and liberals are losing their freaking mind over what he said. Don't even mention Republicans because they don't tune in to William Barber anyway. They hate that guy anyway for the simple fact that he's talking about what majority of Americans want. $15 minimum wage, Medicare for all, deal with revitalizing the public housing program, dealing with homelessness, dealing with hunger, the normal things that you talk about as a human being. Not even talking about black excellence and black rights and black upliftment. I'm talking about just regular humanistic stuff. He said something to hurt your feeling, and now you're pissed off. And I'm sitting up here saying, black people in the Twitter feed condemning this man. Now, you know me, I don't, I got my issues with Reverend Barber too, because he kiss up to the same people who are crapping on him right now. He been kissing their behind. Same people crapping on like this guy. Oh yeah, he allowed Joe Biden to come here and team with him on the Poor People's Campaign, and what they doing is making every excuse in the book not to accommodate the measures, the platform, the needs talked about in the Poor People Campaign. They all talk, but no action. Same thing to this person. All talk and no action. He actually called her and you'll hear it in a moment. Esther. If you know in the Bible who Esther is, she saved a nation. She married the king and she saved the nation. So, she married her husband and saved the United States, or she linked up with Joe Biden and saving the United States. Man, get out of here. She's more like the other one. Y'all think you got your Bible characters mixed up, William Barber? Because all I saw was Jezebel. The way she moved up the ranks to get political power. And I would say that about any man. It don't matter. From Donald Trump to Cuomo, it doesn't matter. Wait, hold up, one more. This guy. The first gay man to run for president. I don't think that's really true. I probably was another gay guy. Probably was another president was gay anyway. But this is the one that was openly gay. Here's he piercing William Barber in the back of his freaking head. Like you're going to put a hole in his head if laser beams was to come out of his eyes. I don't know if William Barber was stepping on his toes or not. But he sure stepped on a whole bunch of toes of liberals this week for just speaking truth to power. Just telling the freaking truth. Stuff I talk about all the time. And let's listen to William Barber. Let's see what made liberal Twitter so pissed off that they actually want to cancel this dude. He didn't call out no names. He didn't say Republicans and Democrats. He may say it, but so far. Now, as it said here from now, it say these politicians want to hold poor and low wealth people captive in poverty and play games with them, but won't do that with corporate interests. Won't do that with corporate America. We got to get them whatever we need to do. Not understanding you put more money in the hands of the people, they'll spend it and they'll bolster this economy. You cannot bolster the economy by giving money to companies. Said Reverend Dr. Barber went off on Republicans and Democrats for not raising the minimum wage. Joe Biden ran on it. Kamala Harris signed on it. There was a whole bunch of people that signed on it, on Bernie's version. Bernie was pushing it. They even told the people of Georgia that if you get these, we're gonna give you not only a $2,000 check, but we're gonna make sure we push Medicare for all. Make sure we push $15 minimum wage, more so the $15 minimum wage. And those people came out because they know they needed Medicare for all, and they know they needed a $15 minimum wage, or at least they saw themselves benefiting from it. And the whole point is most of America is in favor, even Republicans. So it's not a Republican Democratic issue. It is a people issue. Majority of the people in America want $15 an hour minimum wage. Now, places like New York City, LA, Chicago, places like that, it should be at least $20, $25 an hour because the cost of living is so high. It should be adjusted with inflation. And what these people did was looking for every way not to get you the $15 hour. This look like we want to give it to them, but let's find any kind of way not to get it to them without it looking like we did it, because we're going to need them in 2026. 2022. Deep down inside, they did not want $15 an hour, but they spoke it out there just to get you to vote. Campaign promises are highly likely to be broken. You can't believe nothing that comes out of their mouth. They look like they're going to fight for you. They don't even look like they're going to fight for you. But let me let Barber keep talking, then I'll go from there.
Thousands of dollars a piece and give health care to them free. And they just because they got elected and who swear.
Now you hear what he said? We, the taxpayers, we, the American citizens, give them hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in the form of a paycheck for them not to really do that much fighting for you. Oh, they'll bust their butt for corporations. Oh, yeah, Democrat and Republicans. And we let other countries that are nowhere near wealthy as we are outshine us. Like Canada, been giving people $2,000 a month. They already got Medicare for all. Always did, always will. And during the time of COVID, you didn't have to worry about a doctor bill in the mail, but you still got $2,000 coming in every month. And that's not much for a lot of people, but it is something. Paying them $100,000 plus, and we pay their health care. We give them freaking health care. We give them substantial amount of money. But when it comes time for them to invest in you, mum's the word. Oh, I'm going to fight all right. I'm going to get in a ring and lay my butt down to collect this check. Oh, I'm not giving y'all a show. It reminds me of Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. Floyd wasn't trying to give you no show. Pacquiao was trying to give a show. Floyd was not trying to fight. Floyd was trying to survive so both of them can get paid. Back in the day, Floyd used to knock your butt out, but now it's about combination and racking up the numbers, and that's a smart boxer. While you try to bust your behind knocking me out, I'm gonna keep landing these combinations on your ribs, upside your head, and I'm gonna win. I'm gonna keep stacking up points. Well, these politicians aren't trying to fight for you. They make it look like they're fighting. They just trying to get to the end of the year without doing jack for you. And then they're going to come to you and say, please vote for me because the other guy is horrible. And they do that over and over again, and you're in a stalemate, and you have to break that stalemate. Oh, they say stuff like Nina Turner said recently, they're the best you got. No, there's always better. But you're trying to make me think you're the best because you're a Democrat and the Republicans are the worst. I don't give a crap about a Republican. I'm looking for, if I'm a Democrat and you're not doing your job, I'm looking for somebody Democrat to replace you. Because I didn't send you there to not do your job. My tax-paying dollars are paying for your salary, is paying your rent in high-priced D.C., your transportation going back and forth, your free food in the congressional halls, free. I know because I got friends that are senators. Free education, the whole 9 yards. But when it come to you, they're not going to fight for you. Let's let Reverend Barber keep talking.
To establish justice and promote the general welfare. And when I see them stand on the floor of a Senate and say poor and low-wage people don't need a raise, essential workers don't need it, and if they do need it, they only need a small one, in light of the fact of more than 140 million people, poor and low wealth, even before this pandemic, in light of the fact... Let me go back for a second. He said some things very important. Just because it's time for a move to Capernaum, it's time for a change. When I see D.C. senators who are multimillionaires, who we pay hundreds of thousands of dollars a piece and give help.
Now, let me stop there. Honestly speaking, one thing I like about Trump, just one thing I like about Trump, is he decided not to take a salary. He denied the salary. You know, the $400,000 a year that every president get, and I think they get that for life. He turned it down. Jimmy Carter get out of office. He don't go out there and do all these paid speeches. He out here building houses. The man almost 100 years old, trying to put people into houses. Yeah, you got these politicians out here. They're trying to write the next book to make a bunch of money. Or they trying to go to some company and speak, or they piling around, flying around here and there with these rich people. Jimmy Carter out here is in the hood, building up new houses. Himself with a hammer, and is almost 100 years old. And here are the things that we are doing for these politicians, but they don't want to do nothing for us. And you wonder why. I ride them like a cowboy. There's so many freaking youth centers that are underfunded that we're about to get open back up, and they're underfunded. The after school program are underfunded. But yeah, we got AOC go raise money and get $12 million, $5-6 million for the people of Dallas, Texas, which I say nothing wrong with that. Help people as much as you can, but don't forget home. Your whole term as a House, a representative, politician, when have you brought that kind of money to the Bronx? Now, Jamal Bowman represent where I live at right now. Now, I had a chance to talk to Jamal Bowman in Mount Vernon. I told him, brother, I got my eye on you, man. Home is where the heart is. Take care of home. Don't take care of nobody else until home is taken care of. And I think the man got it. Don't be raising money for people in California and you ain't raising money for people here in New York. Are you freaking crazy? We got so many kids that need laptops and computers for homeschooling. And I know some of these schools do offer that, but there's some that don't. After school programs are shut down. Kids don't have nowhere to go. But you can raise $5 million. Let me keep going.
Care to them free, and they just because they got elected and who swear to establish justice and promote the general welfare. And when I see them stand on the floor of a Senate and say poor and low-wage people don't need a raise, essential workers don't need it, and if they do need it, they only need a small one, in light of the fact of more than 140 million people, poor and low wealth, even before this pandemic, in light of the fact that we had 8 to 11 million people who were homeless before this pandemic, we had 14 million people who couldn't afford water before this pandemic, we've had 8 million people since between March and November, who fell below the poverty line in this pandemic. We had 20 million people collecting unemployment in January of this year in the midst of the pandemic. And when I see them hide behind rules like a filibuster that was first used after the Civil War to block changes to move this country further forward, and has been used by the likes of Strom Thurmond and has been used to block women's rights and labor rights, or I see them hiding behind a reconciliation rule and a parliamentarian rule that are not even in the Constitution. Not one of them swore to uphold a parliamentarian's rule.
And he's correct. Upholding the parliamentarian rule is not in the Constitution. It is a weak freaking excuse. The young lady who's a Senate parliamentarian, she's not an elected official. We didn't elect her. She's more of an advisor. She can advise that, no, you shouldn't do $15. All right, but screw you on your advising. The key is whether I'm going to take your advice or not. And most of you people ran for office under $15, and you got an opportunity to push it. And a lot of you use anything you could to scapegoat yourself from voting. It's like the heat we put on the squad to deny Nancy Pelosi the speakership until she put Medicare for all to a floor vote. Didn't say we weren't going to vote her, but don't just give anybody a free vote. You got to make them earn your vote. My whole slogan for the past 8 years is no more slut voting. You just giving it up. No, you giving it up, nothing in exchange. See, women are smart these days. They tell brothers, look, bro, you ain't getting none of this. I gotta have something. I gotta have some kind of commitment. Boy, that make it hard sometimes. I gotta work. I gotta commit. I gotta what? Nah, bro, I'm not giving you. No, why? Because she value herself. She sees herself as special. And that's how you got to look at your vote. You got to value your vote. Your vote is special. It is a high commodity in this country. And people going to just try to tell you to just throw it away. You're a fool if you don't just vote for this person or don't vote. No, I don't just do that. No, if they want my vote, they got to come get it. I'm not just giving somebody a vote because they're R or D. What you going to do? What's your plan? Let me hear it. If it's not in my best interest, you can skip to the loo, my darling, your butt up down the street. No. Those days are over. That's cowardly voting. Voting for the lesser two evil because we done been told the other one is horrible. He's not as horrible. I mean, it used to be he's horrible and she's good or he's good. No, he's horrible, but he's less horrible and you going for less horrible. The point is they're horrible. You got to get a commitment before. The problem is you guys talking about moving the needle once you get this person in office. We're going to move him to the left. He's going to start. We're going to put the pressure on him. You ain't doing jack. Power without a demand concede nothing. You're supposed to get power. Your demand supposed to bring the power. You have to have a demand first. And now you didn't put the demand before the vote. Bernie Sanders said, go vote for my good friend Joe. Bernie Sanders commanded a whole bunch of people. He could have said, Joe, I can't tell my supporters to vote for you just cause Trump, you scared of Trump, or we need to do whatever we need to do to get rid of Trump. What are the policies you're going to put in your platform and commit to it? Or you could forget about another 4 years, which you ain't going to do anyway. What are you going to do? Put in the platform for my supporters, my constituents. Well, he promised to do the $15 an hour. He didn't promise to do Medicare at all, but he did promise to do the $15 an hour. And here we go. He did not even break a sweat. Back in the day, you used to muscle politicians around. You whip up votes, and you offer this if you support this, and I'll do this for you. You scratch my back. You used to do that back in Capitol Hill. Now these punks don't want to do nothing. They don't want to sweat. It's like being told on your first day that you're going to sell encyclopedias in a neighborhood. They drop you off in the neighborhood to sell encyclopedias. Well, you know what kind, I used to do that. You know what kind of pressure that is, especially when you black and you in the wrong neighborhood. Man, you ain't getting in nobody's door. Let's keep going.
Not one of them swore. The president didn't swear to do it. The senators didn't swear to do it. And even when I see the president, I love him preach his inaugural sermon from this very pulpit. But when I see him say he's going to listen to the parliamentarian rather than listen to the people, the poor people, the low-wage people who have kept this country alive.
And this is what I've been speaking since I started this show. These people work for you. AOC work for you. People talking about hold up on AOC. No, man, they ain't hold up on none of these fools, man. Y'all work for me. I pay taxes. I knocked on the doors for you. I made the phone calls for you in your first run. I passed out flyers over there in Parkchester and over there in Pelham Bay. I did that. Nobody knew who you were. And for you to get to Washington, D.C., and you don't do nothing that you said you was going to do on that platform. You talk about it, but when it come down to doing the work, you don't want to do. You find any excuse not to do it. There's no way Nancy Pelosi should have got that speakership without a demand. You tell her we'll vote for you, but we need you to do this first. If you don't, then we might not vote for you. We might go for Hakeem Jeffrey We might go for AOC herself. We might go for somebody else. But if you ain't going to put this to a floor vote, we ain't going to push you. And Jimmy Dore said, all I need is 15 people to do that. I don't need everybody to do that. I need 15 people to do that. Why? Because when they get in Congress, they all talk, but no freaking action. Why don't you run? Man, let me tell you something. I got so much skeleton in my closet, man. I have to tell everybody what I've done. Man, smoke, weed, you name it. I ain't on the front. I grabbed the booty here and there of a woman before, and it all probably come back on me. Nah, I ain't wasting my energy because I wasn't always a goody two shoot. I called people names. I was very racist at one time and very, I wasn't too good. And you'll probably see some of my old tweets and they'll come back and hit me. And nah, bruh, I'm not even gonna allow y'all the opportunity to do that. I'm where I'm supposed to be right now. We put you in office, and when it comes time for you to do something for the people who in majority demands this, they don't do it. Their constituents are hollering for this and voted for you to be in office because you said you're going to do this. And when it come time to do it, you drop the freaking ball. On purpose. I don't know. You ain't dropped the ball. You threw the ball out, outside, because you need to stop the clock. I'm almost done. Let me calm down.
Who have been the first to have
Don't want my blood pressure to get up.
to go to work, and the first to get affected, and the first to get sick, and the first to go to the hospital, and the first to die. And when I see the vice president, yes, she's my sister, but I know she...
Now, this is the part where people lost their freaking mind. They didn't get mad because Reverend Barber went after Joe Biden. They got mad because Reverend Barber told the truth about Kamala Harris. He didn't say nothing bad about Kamala Harris. He just admitted the truth that Kamala Harris has the ability to override the Senate parliamentarian. She's just an advisor. The Senate parliamentarian is just an advisor. Kamala Harris is the president of the Senate. She can shoot that down. She ran on $15 an hour minimum wage. She campaigned on $15. She signed on $15 minimum wage. She went from state to state to state telling people, this is what I'm going to do. Kamala Harris for the people. Whoop, 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 whoop. She did all that stuff. And now you're going to tell me you're going to lay some lame excuse of a Senate parliamentarian stop you from putting $15 an hour in that bill. We're not even talking about passing it and what your vote going to be when it come time to passing it. I'm talking about the vote to put it in the freaking bill. You guys punked out and putting something in a bill. And Twitter, liberal Twitter, lefty Twitter, Democrat stronghold cult group Twitter went off. Oh, don't get mad. I say the same thing about Republicans. Some of y'all are so heavily deep into partyism that it's a cult to you. You cannot live without it. You go around telling people you're a Democrat. You go around telling people you're a Republican. No, you're you. You vote Democratic. You vote Republican. You probably registered, but no. See, I unregistered. You want my vote? You gotta come earn it. I'm not no punk that just gonna give my vote to you just cause you black, just cause you're Democrat, just cause I don't give a crap about that. I need to look at your record. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. I need to see what you've done in the past, present, and what you plan on doing in the future. And when you plan on doing something in the future, I'm gonna be looking at you, waiting for you to do it. And here we got Kamala Harris for the people, the vice president. How in the heck she got that job, I don't know. She was denied. She had to drop out the freaking race. She had to drop out. Joe Biden breathed life into her campaign. Her popularity went down in California. After people looked at her record, it went down. Joe Biden saved her career. That Hispanic brother popularity went up, and if he would have ran up against her, she would have lost her Senate seat, and her hope of ever becoming the president would have been gone out the door. But the Democratic Party is always trying to revitalize the Obama-Biden coalition, and they try to do it with Biden and Kamala Harris. It doesn't mean anything now, because if you're not going to do things for the people, see, you think you're going to repeat twice. A lot of people got bit during the first campaign and the second campaign of Obama that gave him 8 years. A lot of people are bitter. They're not going to give you a chance to do that again. If you don't go hard in the next 2 years, in 2022, you're going to lose the House and you may lose the Senate. And Joe Biden will be a lame duck, and that's when he's going to try to retire and hand the presidency over her, and she's going to sit there and be a lame duck too. And that need not be the case. You don't have to have that. Just do right by the freaking people.
Can overrule the parliamentarian and she can force the senators to vote, but then people are saying, no, don't do that. I want to say, Sister Harris, you like Esther, you were born for such a time as this. And
she can force the Senate to vote if she override the Senate parliamentarian. And they knew this, the Democratic Party knew this, so the leadership had to come together, come with a way to protect her. See, in wrestling, if y'all guys watch wrestling, there's such thing as protecting a valuable wrestler. In other words, we got to find a way for this guy to lose without looking bad. So what we do is we put him, instead of a 2-man match, we put him in a 3-man match. And instead of pinning him, the man that's supposed to be the man that runs stuff, instead of the guy pinning him, he'll pin the scrub wrestler, or what they call a jobber. So I'll pin the jobber. That way I win, but you still look good because I didn't pin you. And that's what they did. They were trying to protect her, keeping her from exercising her authority, exercising her power as the Senate president. They wanted to keep her from overriding the Senate parliamentarian. Why? Because the Senate parliamentarian is their excuse to not get nothing done for you. She's a freaking advisor. She holds no power. All she has to do is give advice. You can either take it or leave it. And in this case, leave it. In this case, take it and throw it up down the street. You don't listen to the Senate parliamentarian when it comes for 80% of Americans who demand $15 an hour minimum wage. You don't let nothing stop you, because this is your way of keeping the House and Senate in 2022. If you don't push this $15 minimum wage, I guarantee you, read my lips, you can't see it right now, you're going to lose in 2022. You're going to either lose the House or lose the Senate or both. One of them is going to go. That's why you got to do whatever you can to do what majority of Americans need you to do. Whatever the majority of Americans are telling you they want to happen in this presidency in these next 2 years, you better do it. You better not be doing this mess right here, because this is setting you up for a Democratic failure when you punk out and make excuses for not getting something done. You're going to get 6 Democrats to say no, all to keep her. 6 Democrats to say no to a vote to put it in the bill. Six Democrats, all to protect Kamala Harris. And you're going to hear what these people on Twitter got to say about this stuff.
when we know that trillions have been given to the wealthiest, 1.2 trillion didn't even go through the Congress. They just found a way to say, here, you can have an extra $1.5 trillion. And billionaires have made nearly $1 trillion in the midst of this pandemic. And when I see people who are dying from poverty and people, poor and low wealth workers, and are the last to get any help, but the first to suffer. And for over 9 years, we haven't raised the minimum wage. It was $7.25 now, $2.13 for tip workers. And these politicians want to hold poor and low wealth people captive in poverty and play games. Republicans want to block many because many have never seen a wage hike they like. And Democrats run on one thing, and then when they get in office, too scared to run on what they said they were going to do, worried more about some kind of false notion of compromise. Don't you remember the 3/5 compromise kept us in trouble for 250 years, and we still haven't gotten over it. We need a change.
Now that brother's preaching truth to power. The brother's preaching. Now I know some of you guys may not like William Barber. I know some people don't like church preachers anyway, and some people don't like preachers who are involved with grassroots movement, but whatever. That's your own opinion. But this brother's right. Can't be no writer. And just like I said about Bill Maher and Megyn Kelly feeling uncomfortable when somebody talk about white supremacy in the schools, assuming that we're talking about you personally, when pastors reading your mail, that means you need to make a change. Instead of complaining and huffing and puffing and getting mad because they talked about your favorite politician. Let me tell you something about this favorite politician syndrome. Familiarity kills the power to change. When you get too personal with these people, the people who are supposed to be making the change, when you get too personal with them, you give them no reason to really get off their butts and get something done. Your boss job is not to get personal with you. That's why a lot of policies on the job saying you cannot hang out with your employees because it's going to kill the boss-employee relationship. I can't be hard on you. I can't be stern on you when me and you are buddies and we going to the strip club putting in 20s if you got that much in thongs. I can't be, it ain't gonna work on the job. And that's what y'all doing. A lot of y'all falling in love with these politicians from Joe Biden to Kamala Harris, the Beehive, and and then you got people, the burners, and then you got the Trumpikins and all these people. You got a personal relationship with these people that you're losing your freaking mind. And your job is to send them there to get a job done, and if they don't do it, you need to fire them.
15 minimum wage would lift 45% of black workers out of poverty.
Now, this is what I got. This is where I really get upset with people like Reverend Barber. Because Reverend Barber not talking reparations. He's not talking about black empowerment. He's John Lewis. He's Martin Luther King during the Civil Rights Movement. He's not Martin Luther King right before he got shot, where he talked about black empowerment. See, when somebody want to talk about a policy and why a policy need to be enacted, they always talk about how it affect blacks, how it affect Latinos. Like white people don't need no more money. Like Chinese people don't need, Asians don't need more money. Everybody need money. So why you always touting us at the top? Oh, when it come to COVID, blacks are disproportionately. Latinos are disproportionately. Oh, when it come to white socks, all white socks, blacks are at the top and Latinos. I mean, see, that's them trying to plant in your mind an inferiority complex. We got it so bad when it comes to health and stuff like that. If we got it so bad, why aren't you fixing it? Because if you ain't fixing it, shut up. And he's sitting up here quoting Like I told you, I got my problem with William Barber, but for them to try to just slam on a man because he telling the truth in this thing is ridiculous.
62 million people could ultimately be impacted. We need to move. We need to move from here to where God wants us to be.
Now, y'all heard this. Y'all heard this. Now, you got people commenting on this. There will be a reckoning for Democrats and Republicans. Now is not the time to whine. Now is the time for Americans to finally accept and understand that they have the power to bypass two parties and get involved in new party politics. I'm all for that. Please listen to even this little bit so people advising people to listen to Reverend Barber. But then you got numbnuts that's going to comment on this from a liberal point of view. Let me see if I can find some of that. You know. All right, so give me a moment. I'm going to try to find this because, Twitter went off on Reverend Barber. Let me see if I can just go to the beginning of okay, just bear with me. You got a lot of stuff up here. I mean, I had it all, man. These people was going slam off over the man for telling the truth. Now, while I'm looking this up, understand that it wasn't just Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin wasn't the only person that covered for Kamala Harris not putting the pressure on ignoring the Senate parliamentarian. By them voting no, those 6 or 7, I believe, voting no to $15 minimum wage. Democrats now in the COVID bill that provided coverage to protect her. Like I said, it's just like wrestling. Somebody else take the pin. They didn't pin you, but they pin the other guy. They win the match between you three, but you're still protected. You're still protected because he ain't pin you. But people was going off. People was calling Reverend Barber all kind of names. You know, what do you expect her to do? You expect her to commit a crime? I'm like, what crime? Get out of here with that mess. Crime. Let me see, can I find some of this stuff? Let me see if I can find some of these. Having a hard time finding. I thought I had all this stuff with me. So I guess I don't. Now, these are the people who voted against, despite $15 minimum wage having a 77% approval rate, and the Senate Democrats vote with Republicans to maintain poverty wages. The Senate Democrats voted with Republicans to maintain poverty wages. The Senate Democrats voted with Republicans. Bipartisan now. Teaming up. Manchin, of course. Sinema walked out. These conservative Democrats, Coons, Carper, Tester, Shaheen, Hassan, and King. None of them following their constituents, because majority of their constituents, they always say, I got to follow the needs of my constituents. Most of these people, their constituents are for $15 minimum wage, but because they're corporate nut huggers and lame suck-ups, politicians, they're going to cater toward their corporate donors over the people, because their corporate donors do not want $15 minimum wage. Now, unfortunately, I lost the page of all the people complaining about William Barber. For what? I have no clue. For what? I have no clue. The man was telling the truth. And the truth is supposed to make you free, right? So, in closing, the left need to calm their behinds down. This man is he's not a political leader. He's supposed to be a pastor, a preacher. And every preacher supposed to be calling out what's wrong that's going on. That's what they supposed to do. And he's supposed to be preaching that you need to turn that wrong into a right. And it is wrong for every last one of you guys to make any freaking excuse to not do $15 minimum wage, putting it in that freaking COVID bill. It could have been put on the bill and you would have been forced to make sure everybody vote on that particular bill. Now, Bernie Sanders tried to do an amendment as usual, and they even turned that down. Freaking Joe Manchin. I told you he's going to be a problem. You thought Mitch McConnell was an issue and a problem. He's supposed to be an issue or a problem because he's a Republican. Joe Manchin, Democrats own, West Virginia own, not listening to his constituents. He's your enemy too. And when I mean enemy to progress for the people. When his own constituents is saying $15 an hour. And so I told you keep thinking these people are your friend. These people are not your freaking friends. They're not. They don't give a crap about you. All they want is your vote, and they want you to continue to pay them their paycheck. See, as long as they're in that position, they're good for life. They're going to get a check for life. For life. For life. You're not getting a check for life. They get free food. They can always go to even after they're retired, they can always go to the Congressional Hall and get a good hot cooked meal. They don't have to worry about nothing another day in their life. They don't have to worry about rent. They don't have to worry about none of that stuff. They're set for life. But you're not. And they're not doing whatever they can to make sure that you're more comfortable. You guys sitting up here making an excuse about trying to cover up Kamala Harris. You need to stop that foolishness. This whole thing was orchestrated to cover up for her. These senators probably was told by whoever, it could be Obama, it could be Biden, whoever, that we need you to go out there and vote this thing down. We don't want this put in the hands of the future of the party, Kamala Harris, which is a smart move. Smart move, say, look, you got to protect our investment. You guys go take the fall. And they probably took the fall and probably got some rewards coming. That's covering up for her. Why? Because she ain't got the guts or the galls or the ovaries or whatever you can to tell the Senate parliamentarian no, because she ain't got the guts to buck up against Joe Biden's wishes. Why? Because Joe Biden is not for no $15 minimum wage. I only told you that to get your vote. And you fell for a hook, line, sinker, and the boots. And now you vote me. You expect me to sit here and actually push $15 an hour? Oh, I'll push it, all right. I'll push it I'll push it just a little bit. I want $15 an hour in the bill. Put it in the bill. You don't. I want $15 on the bill. I don't need you. I don't want Kamala to take the heat for this, so I need you guys to vote this down. All right. Reverend Barber was right. He's right all day on this. You guys ought to be ashamed of yourself. And anybody covering anybody for this, from Kamala Harris all the way to Joe Manchin, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. A doggone shame of yourself. The Democrats have the lead now. Joe Biden don't even have the energy to try to whip Joe Manchin into voting for the bill. He is not trying to offer him nothing. He's not trying to do nothing for Joe Manchin. He has hired Joe Manchin to be his fall guy. The same way Governor Cuomo developed the IDC for the sole reason to shoot down progressive legislation that he say he for that he's really not for. That's what Joe Biden has in his arsenals. 6 Senate Democrats that's going to protect Kamala Harris, and Joe Biden, who is part of that 6, as the fall guy. I mean, Joe Manchin as the fall guy. That anytime we need some legislation push, we got 6 people that we can work with to say no. So good luck to seeing some progressive legislation being pushed. I told you, you should have asked for, you should have demanded before you gave the vote. Now he has no reason to give it to you because you done gave him the power. And Joe Biden's like, man, ain't paying y'all no mind. Joe Biden is not paying y'all no mind. Bernie Sanders, we can move him to the left. Let's vote him in and then just move him to the left. How's that working for you? Is it working for you? It's not.